The typical hopefulness that accompanies another year didn't keep going long in 2020. Between the potential risk of a universal war, energized by the Iran-United States strife, and the genuine danger of a coronavirus, the previous hardly any months have been tense. These are startling occasions, and the internet is by all accounts loaded up with bits of gossip and deception, and no limited quantity of pearl-clutching. Let's reasonable of the primary misinterpretation. The coronavirus isn't called COVID-19. Rather, COVID-19 is the name of the sickness brought about by the infection. That infection has been named SARS-CoV-2, serious intense respiratory disorder coronavirus 2. Consider it like AIDS and HIV. Helps is the name of the ailment. HIV is the infection that causes AIDS. Unlike our past Wuhan influenza records, we're going to keep things somewhat lighter here. We'll concentrate on the inquisitive side of the infection and the malady, including some intriguing subtleties we haven't secured at this point. The Corona beer brand was damaged. Discussion about misfortune. The Corona lager logo has a crown on it. Corona signifies crown in Spanish and Latin. Adventitiously, the coronavirus got its name from the crown-like spikes on the outside of the infection particles. At the point when a few people originally found out about the new infection, they were confounded and may have related it with the Corona lager brand. They may have even accepted that the infection was spread by drinking the brew. It has muddled the amount of an effect this mixed-up conviction has had on deals of the brew, as different sources have revealed various outcomes. As indicated by YouGov, a British statistical surveying firm, Corona Lager's buzz score, a proportion of the ubiquity of the brand, has dropped from 75 to 51 since the start of 2020. The whistleblower scientist was killed by COVID-19. It's practically similar to the coronavirus, is attempting to wipe out any observers. In an agitating incongruity, Li Wenliang kicked the bucket subsequent to contracting COVID-19. Li, a Chinese specialist who worked at Wuhan Central Hospital, was known for being vocal about the perils of this developing virus. At least as right on time as December 30, 2019, Li cautioned individual surgeons about the chance of an episode. The Chinese police prompted him to quit offering bogus remarks in an administration endeavor to hide the circumstance away from plain view. After Li's shocking demise, a major piece of the Chinese populace was justifiably disturbed. This pushed the hashtags Wuhan government owes Dr. Li Wenliang a conciliatory sentiment and we need the right to speak freely of discourse to incline on Weibo, a Chinese web-based life web page. The Chinese government rushed to blue pencil both hashtags. This most recent discussion just adds fuel to the troublesome connection between Chinese specialists and their populace. In 2019, the strain between Territory China and Hong Kong arrived at a limit because of opposition from Hong Kong against the administration's strategies. The coronavirus is deadlier for men. Chinese researchers have discovered that people are similarly prone to be contaminated by the coronavirus. Be that as it may, fatalities in China have happened at a pace of 2.8% for men contrasted with 1.7% for ladies, recommending that men are bound to bite the dust when tainted. Remember that these measurements may downplay the pace of disease in the two gatherings, so these rates could be changed with new data. At present, the most plausible purpose behind the sex contrast can be ascribed to something that researchers definitely knew. The female safe reaction is more grounded than that of males. Although the specific explanation behind this is as yet obscure, it is accepted to be connected to either the more elevated levels of estrogen hormone in ladies or the way that every lady has two X chromosomes instead of a man's one X chromosome. Both factors add to invulnerability. This sexual orientation contrast could happen for developmental reasons, as ladies need to stay sound for delayed occasions, to hold up under kids and sustain them. COVID-19 has already killed more people than SARS. As of this composition, we are around a quarter of a year into this new scourge. Is there any genuine explanation behind panic at first look? It appears that there may be. In a flat-out sense, Wuhan influenza has just slaughtered a greater number of individuals than SARS, extreme intense respiratory disorder, which was brought about by another strain of coronavirus in the mid-2000s. In any case, the rates tell an alternate story. As of this composition, 101,906 individuals have contracted COVID-19 and 3,465 have passed on of it. On the other hand, 8,098 individuals turned out to be sick with SARS and 774 died. Up until this point, the general passing rate from COVID-19 gives off an impression of being 3.4%, while the casualty rate from SARS was an incredible 9.6%. Of course, any passings from COVID-19 are too much. Be that as it may, a significant concern with respect to this infection is the means by which effectively and subtly it can spread. On the off chance that you are inside 1.8 meters, 6 feet, of a tainted individual, you are viewed as in danger. That makes any metro a potential problem area for contamination. Furthermore, it can take as long as about 14 days for an individual to create manifestations. That makes this new infection nearly as simple to get as the normal bug, yet COVID-19 is unquestionably progressively deadly. The coronavirus may also kill the global economy in 2020. The worldwide economy carries on fairly like a living being, and it began 2020 with an awful bug. As per the World Bank, the underlying projections for worldwide development in 2020 were 2.5%, somewhat over the post-emergency low recorded in 2019. To exacerbate this situation, the coronavirus pandemic is influencing China, one of the most impressive economies on the planet. As per a February 2020 Reuters survey of financial analysts in China, their country's yearly monetary development in the main quarter of 2020 is relied upon to decrease to 4.5% from around 6.0% in the past quarter. Much of this is because of the flare-up, and it's required to influence every one of us. In any case, these financial experts anticipate that monetary development could bounce back rather rapidly if the episode is successfully contained. How can this scourge hurt the economy so dramatically? Well, individuals are substantially less slanted to travel and utilize different administrations as of now, since they fear being presented to the infection. Be that as it may, we ought to anticipate that an expansion in memberships should Netflix and other spilling stages as individuals marathon watch appears while covering up in their homes. A few people believe that the coronavirus is a bioweapon going rogue. Where there is the internet, there are paranoid ideas. The COVID-19 pestilence has been taken care of in a shockingly developed manner by individuals on the internet, with the exception of an image or two. In any case, the flood of new cases outside Wuhan, particularly in South Korea and Italy, has driven a few people to be suspicious. The baffling passing of the informant didn't help either. These hypotheses are not valid, despite the fact that they positively have pulled in the consideration of numerous individuals. As indicated by one hypothesis, China built the coronavirus as a weapon. The infection was then discharged to make space for horticultural expansion. Even government officials appeared to have intrigue fever. U.S. Senator Tom Cotton additionally blamed the Chinese government for treachery. Like everything else, the virus has become an issue of racism and politics. Wuhan influenza isn't the main flare-up that began in China. Famously, SARS and the Asian influenza likewise began there. On the dread and vulnerability produced by this new pandemic, Asians need to manage bigotry and xenophobia. Anti-Chinese estimation has been developing in the previous 2 months. These responses are maybe justifiable, however certainly not sensible. The greater part of the spread to different countries is expected to non-Asians visiting China and coming back to their nations instead of the opposite way around. Reports of xenophobia against Chinese individuals are getting normal. "Yo, infection kid. Try not to taint us," was hollered at a Chinese-Canadian understudy in Vancouver. In another model, the hashtag #ChinesiDontKimitoHapan was slanting on Twitter among Japanese clients. Then again, The Chinese government making light of her out-and-out lying about the infection isn't improving the situation much. You are not immune even after surviving the first encounter with the coronavirus. Would lightning be able to strike a similar spot twice? All things considered, truly, that is the general purpose of flood arresters. Sadly, with regards to the coronavirus, a similar standard applies. Let state you got the infection and had the option to bob back. You are fine, right? No, not so much. As of late, a Japanese lady was determined to have COVID-19 for the subsequent time. The lady is a visit transport direct in Osaka, which makes her all the more effortlessly presented to contamination because of the quantity of individuals with whom she cooperates. That news is troubling in light of the fact that it elevates the potential effect of the ailment. Besides, it makes the improvement of a successful immunization less practical. Researchers are as yet attempting to make sense of how the coronavirus can contaminate a similar individual twice, or if there is another clarification for the twofold positive outcomes. Did it all start with bats, snakes, or even pangolins? Now, numerous individuals have caught wind of the most likely beginning of the coronavirus, bats. China has gained notoriety for having a curious nearby food as wild creatures can be purchased at open-air advertises and eaten. One local delicacy incorporates a purportedly scrumptious and very unpleasant bat soup. Scientists are as of now attempting to figure out which creature is liable for transmitting the infection to people, yet they are as yet uncertain. Two other potential guilty parties incorporate snakes and pangolins. In case you're new to pangolins, they are cute warm-blooded animals with textured bodies that can twist into a ball when under danger. Pangolins can be found normally in Asia and Africa. Yet, these animals are dealt everywhere throughout the world since they are viewed as a delicacy. It makes you believe that this entire disaster could have been kept away from if individuals would simply disregard wild creatures. A virus-detecting giant robot was roaming New York. On the off chance that you were in New York toward the beginning of February 2020, you may have run over a make sense of Strait of Isaac Asimov's I, robot. This computerized paramedic was made by Promobit, a Pennsylvania-based organization. The droid was being tried in and around parks. Supposedly, the 152-centimeter-tall 50 robot could screen for the coronavirus by meandering the boulevards inquiring as to whether they had fevers. In Bryant Park, the robot was immediately restricted for not having a permit. Some people who ran into the droid depicted it as charming. Others suspected it was needless excess and frightening. They clearly didn't have a clue about that the bot can move the pit bull and sing Beatles tunes.